When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title is here to inform, entertain, and inspire you. Host Bill Napick from Stewart Title will talk with guests about what really matters when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title starts right now. Here's your host, Bill Napick.
And welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Glad that you are joining us right here on this yet another radio adventure, broadcasted from Houston, Texas, and heard all over the world, especially in Houston. Thank you for joining us. And whether you're listening right here in Houston, maybe Katy, Texas, maybe Kingwood, maybe the Woodlands, I don't know where you're at, but wherever you are, we put together this show to inform, entertain, and even inspire. And I think we're going to hit all three things right here today on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Napick, and we're brought to you every week for 272 shows. That's the serial number right here today, 272 by Stewart Insurance. Yes, that's where you can get home, auto, all kinds of insurance. And today you can get those things, but also we have Brittany Taggart and John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance, and you're going to get some great information, especially if you're a real estate professional. Hey, guys, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
It's super exciting, as always, to talk about insurance and especially ways that we can help real estate professionals.
Absolutely. We always look forward to it. So just to give some background, at Stewart Insurance, we focus, as Bill mentioned, mainly on the real estate industry. So we have two sides of our business at Stewart Insurance, and we focus on insuring real estate brokers, other professionals in the real estate industry from a business perspective. And then we also assist their home buyers who are going through the real estate transaction to help them secure home insurance for their closing. And so that's really the two sides of our business. And today we do want to bring some great information to our real estate professionals. We give a CE class that's called, it's our 3-hour CE, Real Estate Liability, Protect Your License and Reduce Your Risks. And so today we've brought some information forward that we typically give in the class, but it's just two pieces that we feel every real estate professional should just kind of be reminded of and implement every day as they're practicing.
And let's say that again, because the title, Brittany, is so important. And I think we're all out there, whether we're real estate professionals, but especially the real estate professional is out there trying to grow their business, address the needs of their clients. But they can't do that unless they're mindful of making sure that their license is being protected, that they're doing the right things to protect their livelihood and to do the right things for their clients.
Absolutely. Everyone that we've ever educated in our classes, their heart's always in the right place. And I think we get very involved in our work. And we're just there to make sure that we're aware of our risks, we're aware of the exposures that can be created, and to talk to the brokers about their insurance that they have in place for their agents, but also talk about how the agents themselves can help manage the risk on a day-to-day basis. So the class is called Real Estate Liability, Protect Your License and Reduce Your Risks.
Let's talk about some of the things that are included in that tremendous class.
So a couple of things that are really critical are disclosing your information and then documenting. So make sure that you're open and disclosing, transparent, but also when you do have conversations, let's make sure that we document them.
And that's the thing, John, when you say that, there's so much conversation that goes back and forth between the realtor and the person or family that they're serving. Sometimes it's a lot of, it's voluminous, so the key is they better document it.
Well, they do. They need to document it and they need to disclose it. So there's not going to be a person in that transaction that a buyer or seller deals with that's going to know more about that area than the realtor. They're going to be their best resource. So the realtor needs to take advantage of their strength, which is that local knowledge, and share it with the realtor, but also the buyer or the seller, but not just good news, but also maybe bad news. If there's something that comes across that they think's a red flag, point that out. If something doesn't smell right, let them know something doesn't smell right, and let's find a resource that can help us determine if there is an issue. So that's part of it. Another part of it is if a realtor does recommend a resource, that there's full disclosure on who that resource is. So, for example, if I recommend Bill Napick to be your business development agent for Stewart Title, I also need to let them know that I have a business relationship with Bill Napick. Or if I recommend a plumber, let's say, and the plumber is my cousin, I would at least let them know that the plumber is my cousin. Doesn't mean you can't make that recommendation, but it's just important that you disclose all information when possible.
Along the lines of the term full disclosure.
Yes, sir.
It's that simple, really.
Absolutely. And I think the third area where disclosing information can be critical is helping your client, helping the buyer or the seller understand what all is taking place, what the transaction truly means. What are they signing? What are they signing up for? What are they agreeing to? So make sure that it's not just the assumption, well, it's in the contract, it's in the document, so it'll be read. Don't make that assumption. Make sure that your client understands all that they're getting into.
And I think just to add on to disclosing, that's something that I know every single real estate agent hears a lot is, yes, I know to disclose. Some of these things that we cover are some common sense areas, but they're not always common practice. And I think even today, with all of the risks that we're seeing, all the new exposures that have entered the industry, if you go back and you look at, I believe, National Association of Realtors has their legal claims and they have a report. Disclosure is still a main area of claims happening. There's still losses that are happening just from disclosure. So it's very important to keep these things in mind, especially nowadays.
And I would also think when they're at the class and the information that you're putting forth, there'll be some new things that, like you said, some things are common sense, but there'll be some new things that the real estate professional hears that can really save them, and they say, wow, I'm glad I heard that, because they can prevent a problem in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's definitely some new risks that we're all, I'm sure, experiencing in the industry and new ways that we need to start practicing.
And I want to remind people, too, is that we don't think maybe there's other professions, but certainly the real estate professions, lawyers out there, too, they're in a profession that with each and every transaction, they have exposure. Mm-hmm. And maybe they don't like to think about it, the real estate professional, but that's just a fact.
That's absolutely true. That is absolutely true.
And part of that exposure is many times if a real estate professional does get sued, it's because somebody feels like they've done something to them. And that's the key word, they feel. They feel. So this idea of making sure that you disclose everything, that you take the time to make sure everybody understands, and then once you've done that, you document it to ensure that there's no miscommunication.
And specifically with documentation, we say document everything, verbal conversations, written conversations, important pieces of the transaction. And I know sometimes it can be a little overwhelming with, well, if I have to document, how in the world am I going to document all of this? And, our advice for that is just make sure that we're determining the most valuable areas and the most valuable items that we might want to document throughout a transaction. And then after you've determined those items and you say, okay, it's definitely the verbal conversations when we're speaking about ABC, and all the written conversations need to be documented in a database of some sort that's date and time stamped. After you determined your practices, it's very important that you're then consistent with every single client.
Big word right there, consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned on every single transaction, you open yourself up to exposure. And so if something were to happen on one of those transactions, you could be subpoenaed. So say you're taken to court, you could be subpoenaed for all of your other documentation 5 years, up to 5 years in the past, to make sure that you are consistent and you didn't just pad this one transaction that felt a little like something might happen with it. So you padded it with a lot of documentation. They want to see that you actually do that on every single transaction. So once you've determined how you're going to document as a real estate agent or as a real estate broker advising their real estate professionals under them, you need to make sure that that's followed consistently for every single transaction. And then one last thing is also to make sure that a lot of that's being backed up on a different hard drive or in a different place. And the reason being is I know today we're seeing a lot more of these cyber risks and a lot more of these takeovers through networks. So that if you have important information documented, you might also want to consider backing that up offsite. So if somebody were to enter your network or get a hold of that information, you have a copy of it somewhere else.
And what about the idea of writing things down? That's a good one too.
That could be a good practice as well. Date and time stamped. Like I said, consistent practices. And I think you have to evaluate as a professional what is that method for you? Is it written? Is it memos? Is it through email? And what's that database that you're using?
And I'm all of a sudden putting myself in the place of a real estate professional, going through some of that. As you're mentioning these things, I'm thinking of scenarios, but I'm thinking of one where, let's say I just drive up to the house to meet a homeowner or to meet a buyer or whatever, and I see something amiss in the house, or I walk to the door was open before I opened the super key or something, I'm going to make a note of that and notify, and then also get the feedback to say, hey, do you realize that this door, just things like that.
Right.
But then especially when we get to negotiating points and those kind of conversations, that's probably pretty important.
Absolutely. And I think it goes back to what Brittany said, is whether you're a broker and you establish it for your firm, or if you're just a realtor and you just do it for yourself to be a professional, is what is my process? What are the places where I'm going to document? What are the places where I'm going to disclose? And this, make sure that that's just consistent, that's, at these steps along the way, this is when I'm going to have the conversation, and this is when I'm going to document, and then it becomes a habit.
And ultimately, I think just to wrap it up, is the reason why we say these are the things that you need to implement is because ultimately the burden of proof is on you. We mentioned earlier that you are the professional, you are the one that has local knowledge, and you're able to share all of this with your client. You're there to guide them. And so that makes you in a better position to be able to advise, but it's going to be on you to prove exactly what took place if you were to be, pulled into litigation. So that's why we want to make sure that we're disclosing and documenting.
And like John said earlier, a lot of times we all get in trouble in all facets by the way someone feels or certainly certain perceptions. But the thing I'm thinking about right now is systems and procedures.
Yes.
If you are flying a 747, they anticipate problems so that should something happen, they have a system and procedure that the pilots are trained. They will do that. They're consistent. All the things that you're mentioning, all these things are documented. Why? Because flying and piloting for the lives of hundreds of people is very important. For the realtor, that real estate transaction of the home, whatever size, is also very important. So
it's still their livelihoods.
Indeed it is. So those are great tips. So let's tell people again, if they would like this class, Brittany, what should they do?
They should give us a call. We always encourage people to have a conversation with our team, John and I included. So 866-798-2827. You can give us a call. You can ask for John or Brittany, and we will talk to you about our upcoming classes.
The number again is?
866-798-2827.
That's a great number. And today we talked about just two of these things,
just two.
Right? And by the way, everybody, there's actually how many?
7.
7.
There's 7 practices that we review during that class.
So pretty soon you're going to be back on the air talking about the other 5, unless they go to the class first, right?
Yeah, and then you can get it all at once, and you can get CE credit for it.
And you get the credit. So if there's a broker out there listening and they would like this class, all they got to do is call Brittany or John Bramlett at 866-798-2827. And anything else before we conclude the segment, guys?
We appreciate the opportunity, Bill. Thank you.
Or if they want a home or auto quote, they can call that number as well.
Absolutely.
And so much more. Thank you so much. We are going to take a short break. Yes, and come back with even more information. Stay with us.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Now we're going to talk to a realtor that is in the commercial line of real estate and residential. Her name is Jackie Naro. Jackie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today.
Super awesome. With Realty Associates in Kingwood, Texas, no less, right?
Realty Associates is a very large brokerage. We are approximately 2,000 agents that are sponsored, work for Realty Associates.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. So we work not only nationally, but also internationally. Additionally, one of the nice things I like about Realty Associates is that while we do pick a home office, mine is in Humble, I can, however, visit and work out of any office throughout the whole area. And the offices, the staff, the managers there are very welcoming, very cordial, very friendly. So although my home office is in Humble, I can surely, and I do, go to the Pearland location because I do a lot of work in the Pearland area. And as a matter of fact, they just are celebrating a grand opening. They just did yesterday of their new location at Pearland on Broadway. And I'm very familiar with that area. It's a booming area. And that just speaks to that as well, how they have just relocated to a more centrally located office in Pearland.
And you know what
on Broadway.
You're reminding me, Jackie, we haven't had anybody from Pearland on in a while. It seems like we've been focusing on Inside the Loop and the Kingwood Cypress area for the last couple shows. I've just made a mental note to reach out to Pearland.
Yes, and I'm giving them a shout out, speaking out for them, a hot market there as well, residential and commercial. Like I say, I work in that area as well, even though that is not my home office. I'm very familiar with it. The Realty Associates Pearland office just relocated, like I mentioned, to an office suite on Broadway. Broadway is just a big, busy street. There's a lot of development on that street, a lot of opportunities for investors. And let me tell you, they are out. They are looking to buy.
That's right. There are a lot of in every part of the city. It's so interesting. And when people listen to this show on the internet from afar, they would get the impression, if they are paying attention, that almost every direction, if not every direction, the city is spreading out, and it's very healthy growth and steady growth.
Very, very healthy and steady growth, and it affects both the residential and the commercial end. One feeds off the other. If there's new developments in housing, which we have a lot of, then the commercial follows. The other way around as well, but the residential certainly drives the commercial aspect of it. And I am seeing that not only in the Pearland area, in the Houston area, but all of the surrounding areas that I work in. For example, I just had a closing on Monday on a commercial 1 acre tract of land on Airline. High dollar for a 1 acre, but as you know, location drives the price, sets the price of a property, and of course, so does the size. But as long as the goals of both sides are met, seller and buyer, then we've done our job. So that is exactly what I strive to do, and it is to meet the goal of both sides, getting the proceeds for the seller that they need and getting the good deal for the buyer that they're looking for, because they're looking to make money. And the way they do that is to first acquire their land at a price within their budget, and then they still have to have enough money to invest in their actual project, be it a residential development, multi-family subdivision, or any type of retail, commercial, medical facility, storage facility, you name it. But it all takes money, and most investors, whether they're one individual or a group, they come looking to stay within a budget to ensure their profit.
Well, give us an idea. You probably, in what you just said, answered the question I'm going to ask, but I'll say just embellish it a little bit, if you will, and that is, how is the commercial market? Sounds like it's
doing
hopping.
Well. It's hopping. Just
it's
like
hot.
Easter,
like the Easter Bunny. It is hopping.
It is. And when I said, the investors are out, I do mean it. I do mean they are out. They are out, whether they be individual investors, or it is also very common for there to be groups of investors that pool their money together and go literally looking for the best properties to suit their projected project. So they're looking for a property, a development land, a raw land that is suitable for their project, whether that is in the residential aspect or in the commercial. But they're out looking, they're out wanting to get that earnest money contract done, and they want to close, and they want to close as soon as possible. After, of course, they've done their feasibility studies. But it's a hot market. And so is the residential. I have a closing tomorrow on a home. So it's both markets are doing very, very well.
That is very exciting. Now, let's go to the commercial mode just for a second. And the two places that and again, you mentioned you go all over Houston, but let's take the two places that we've mentioned geographically, Kingwood area and Pearland. From the commercial standpoint, is one more hopping than the other, let's say, at this point in time?
I think I would say it's equal. It's equal even outside of those two areas. Investors are looking for land. And, land, there is only a certain amount available. And right now, there is just this craze over wanting to acquire land, the land that is available. So geographically, they're looking everywhere, and they are not needing to stay in one geographical area. They see outside of the geographic boundaries, past that to where they can make money. That's what they want. The opportunity, the location that will yield them the biggest profit. And that has no boundary, no geographic boundary, as long as it's location, 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 on a major road, on a hard corner, signalized, ideally. And not all properties are like that. We know that. But, that brings with it the pricing strategies. But they are looking everywhere.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And of all the things, a lot of realtors stay with one category or the other.
Mm-hmm.
How is it, or which started first? Number one, did you start in residential or did you start in commercial? But why is it that you're choosing to do both?
I started in residential, but very quickly progressed to the commercial. I see a lot of similarities in the two, but certainly there are differences. For example, in the residential, I also have a big tendency to explain. I guess because of my background, I'm a former educator and school administrator. So just the talking, the explaining, making sure that everyone understands what is happening, because this process of selling and buying, whether it's residential or commercial, it can be overwhelming. It can be draining, mentally and physically exhausting. But my goal is to keep everything professional and friendly and still meet all of the requirements and explain all of the steps as we go through them, explain them as many times as necessary. One of the similarities, for example, is in the residential side, there's the option period. I explain to the clients, okay, this is your opportunity to purchase the right to end your contract after you do certain things. And there is a fee associated with that. On the residential side, it's a couple of $100s. So it's a low monetary amount that ensures that you can do a couple of things during that period. For example, one of the primary things is that you, as a buyer, will have the house inspected. You are wanting to then find out from the report, well, what is the condition of the house? And to that point, you already have an earnest money contract. You've done some negotiating and you have a sales price in place. Well, purchasing this option period and then reading and following the report gives you another negotiation opportunity, because then you will see, okay, what was wrong, if anything, with the foundation, with the roof, with any of the systems within the house. And then you can go into a negotiation process again to determine two things, particularly one, who is paying for these repairs, and two, who is going to be responsible for them. So for a few $100s, you can negotiate and come to a sales price and move forward. Or you can say, you know what, this is way more than I wanted to get involved with. I'm going to terminate and walk away.
I'm out, right.
Right, and all they've lost is a couple $100s. The counterpart on the commercial side is the feasibility period. So a commercial buyer, then has the opportunity to pay for a period. The other difference is the length of time. On the residential, typically 7 to 10 days, much faster than the commercial, because of what is involved on the commercial side during a feasibility study. The price is also higher. We're talking thousands of dollars versus hundreds, 30 to 120 days. So the buyer then has that time period to conduct a lot of studies, all with the goal of determining whether that land is suitable for their project. And that's very important because they're typically talking multi-million dollars, sometimes several $1 million just to acquire the land, and even more to build out their project. So things like soil studies might have to be conducted. There's different phases. If in phase 1 everything goes smoothly, then that's all that's required. However, based on those results, they might need to then proceed to phase 2. All of these things cost a lot of money, thousands of dollars on the commercial side. But the buyer goes into it with a commitment. Once they enter into a negotiation process with a piece of property, they know that they're going to spend a couple of $1,000 on that fee with the independent consideration, and they're going to spend even more than that on these studies. But in the big picture, them spending these thousands of dollars to determine whether or not that land is suitable for their project is well worth it, because they're talking thousands versus millions.
It all goes in the equation. Quickly,
Yes.
let's tell people in commercial and residential, as a real estate professional, what do you love most about commercial and what do you love most about residential?
Big differences. Residential, what I love, it's more emotional. The purchase of a home
It's how
is
people feel.
much more
Right,
emotional.
right.
But I also like that on the commercial end, it's all about the money. It's all about those dollars. The penny counts, you know?
Okay,
and
and-
I like that too.
And then real quick, also, quickly, what is your outlook for both markets? Here we are. You have described a very brisk, healthy market.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it's going to be like if you were to speculate between now and the end of the year?
It will continue. It will remain hot.
Very
It will
exciting.
remain hot and hopping.
And let's tell people, Jackie, how they can reach out to you.
Best way, my phone number, 713-301-2347. And I have a little tagline, call me and let me get your property sold.
It's that easy. Give Jackie Naro a call at 713-301-2347. Thank you, Jackie, for being on the show. And more to come. Stay with us.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Tyler, your host, Bill Nampick, here. Right here, we're going to talk about West Houston. That's right, residential real estate in West Houston. We have two tremendous people right here, real estate professionals, Katie Bolin. Okay, I already messed up, but that's okay. She covers Katie in Fulshear and West Houston, but her name is Christy Bolin. You see how confused I get?
Hey, I answered anything as long
It
as it's
is
nice.
amazing. Christy Bolin and Jackie Lopez, both with Keller Williams Premier. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Super awesome. So let's tell people, we already said West Houston. I
Yes.
mentioned Katie, Fulshear, and all those things. But first, let's tell people there are a lot of Keller Williams all around the United States and beyond. Let's tell them about your Keller Williams Premier.
We love Keller Williams Premier. It's located on Westheimer and Peak Road in the Villaggio Shopping Center. We also have a satellite office in Fulshear on FM 1463 and 1093. So we are ready and raring to go to assist you with residential, commercial, as well as farm and ranch. And we just have a fantastic office of 383 agents that are ready to serve you.
And we're hearing so much about that area, that 14, is this 62 or 63?
1463 and 1093.
It is amazing, isn't it? How the city is growing in every direction. What do you think about that, Jackie? It is growing like crazy.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I'm a Katy resident about 20 years, and I've seen it all. I've seen the expansion all the way out to Fulshear, all the way out to Cypress. It's been fun to watch, for
And
sure.
I remember at one time when someone said Fry Road, that was like way out there. But actually, that, I guess, is the determining mark between Houston, because if you're on one side of Fry Road, which I am, I'm almost in Katy, but my address is Houston, and it's amazing.
It is. I remember the time when you had to go into Dairy Ashford to go to the grocery store. So that gives you some perspective of how much it has grown now. But yes, it goes all the way from Fry, all the way out. They've got several new exits. Is it Igloo exit, the last one before Brookshire?
Yeah.
But
That's
Katy,
way out there
yes,
in my mind.
But Katie's about to annex Brookshire, and so it's even going to go farther.
And one of my favorite, I like the Costco out there too. I mean, you got, I
it's
mean
wonderful.
and that's centrally located. They must
It
have
is.
known something in that. These guys have vision, don't they?
They do. They absolutely do.
Amazing. Well, let's tell people, as far as the market, and we'll just generalize just for a second, Christy, West Houston, how is it right now?
You know, West Houston is just really on fire right now. I think a combination of the weather picking up and getting a little bit nicer. We had a really wet winter, and interest rates dropping has really brought the buyers out in full force. I mean, we just almost can't even keep up. There's such a demand for homes now that the buyers have kind of gotten off the fence and are taking advantage of those record low interest rates.
So it sounds like there's a lot of buyers that you're out showing property to.
Correct, yes. In fact, we wrote contracts for, 5 this week? Yeah, it's been really, really, really fantastic.
That is amazing. Very exciting. Let's switch gears. What about
Sure.
the sellers? What's going on there? If I'm a seller, let's take Green Trails. I'm familiar with that. You're all
Yes,
and,
it's a great
and people
neighborhood.
listening, if you are not familiar with Green Trails, it is a small hamlet west of the city of Houston. So you might be in Pennsylvania listening. A lot of greenery, some
Beautiful
older
homes.
homes. I don't know when they were built. Mine was built in 92. If you're a seller in, say, the Green Trails area, and that's a lot of that is still in Houston.
Yes.
But the furthest west, what's it like there? What would you tell a seller in Green Trails?
Well, Green Trails is a really highly desirable neighborhood because of its ease and access into Houston. You're at the far west corner of the Katy area. So you have all the benefits of the fantastic Katy School District. However, you do, to your point, have a beautiful established neighborhood. Many of the homes were built by custom builders. And it's really, really desirable neighborhood. So the key to selling your home in Green Trails and getting it sold for top dollar and getting it sold quickly really comes down to, because we know location is fantastic, is making sure that the house has some great updates and then it's really, really set up to meet the needs of today's buyer and priced correctly. And if those two things come into play, we're actually seeing multiple offer situations in Green Trails.
You know, that you could put music to that, and a seller is saying, let me call Christy right now.
Call us.
And one of the things that is in the name, if people are following along and they're not familiar, it's called Green Trails. Why? There's some trails out there,
Yeah,
too.
There's trails and
Everywhere.
greenery and parks. It's just an incredible community.
And I walk my dogs, Elvis and Callie, every morning. They get, unless it's raining really bad, they get a 1.5 mile walk every day. And I have 2 trails that I could choose from.
Yes. Well, the other thing that's fantastic about Green Trails is you have something for everyone there. So you have everything from the townhomes all the way up to the large luxury estates. And the nice thing about Green Trails is that the lots are a really, really, really great size. And that's kind of hard to find in our new construction products is the big, beautiful estate lots. And then you also have your townhome opportunities there as well.
And trees are tremendous. In fact, the
Beautiful.
trees, it's also a great place for people that are in the tree business as far as tree trimming.
Yes.
And I've seen them, and I've had them at my house as well. But the tree trimming is very brisk right now in the Green Trails
Absolutely.
area.
All over Katy.
But it is nice to have trees.
It's wonderful.
There's no question about it. So let's move on from Green Trails. What would you say if I were to say, and I don't know about price point, but if I were to say West Houston, what would be, is there one area that's the hottest of the Katy area or the Fulshire area right now? What are you feeling there?
Well, it really depends on what you're looking for.
Should I say a price point to narrow it down?
No, so we can
Okay.
talk about some communities. If you're
All right, let's
looking
do
for
that.
new construction, we have some really fantastic schools that have just opened actually on the north side of Katy.
Oh.
So we used to hear all the time, you have to be south of I-10, you have to be south of
You
I-10.
don't.
And that is not the rule anymore. So with the opening of Peyto High School and Bethke Elementary and Stockdick Junior High, they are state of the art. People love them. They're actually moving from the south side of Katy to the north side in order to take advantage of being able to get a lot more home for the price and to be able to get their kids into those fantastic schools and have ease of access up to Cypress and the Woodlands from the Grand Parkway.
Yes, we're seeing lots of buyers out there, especially this spring. I think we've had 4 or 5 in the newer neighborhoods that are out there. So you're getting a brand new home at a really good price.
And see, that's the idea. We talk about homes that were built in the 90s, the importance, like in the Green Trails, the importance of the updates, very, very important. But the flip side, people that are in these homes, like me, I'm getting tired of fixing stuff.
Correct.
And then looking at a room, certain rooms, and say, man, these need updated. They don't look like the brand new homes.
Yes.
So some people want to go to the new construction for their next home. Right, Jackie?
Absolutely. We're having tons of buyers that are selling, especially in, I would say, next phase of life buyers. Their kids are grown
That
and they're
sounds
ready.
kind of interesting. The next, the next phase of life. Well, that could mean a lot of
It can.
things,
Yeah.
right? That keep going.
But we've had one client all their kids are grown and they bought a one-story house in a newer neighborhood because it met their needs now. They no longer needed a bigger house, and they didn't want to do the updates, so they went ahead and moved on.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
We also
Interesting.
have the flip side of that, though, too. West Houston had a huge explosion. And as we know, with population growth also comes traffic. And so we're actually also getting a lot of clients that have built out in the West Houston area that as traffic demands become crazier and crazier in the Houston area, they want to be closer to the major commuting routes. So we're actually getting a lot of demand for homes in neighborhoods like yours, Green Trails, Kellywood, like Jackie's. They really want to be on the east side of 99 so that it's easier for them to get into town.
In fact, I'll say something here that I think about living there. And I used to live right at 610 in Woodway. Beautiful, tremendous
Beautiful.
location where you can go anywhere. The heart, the center of the Houston universe, I say all the time. Love that area. But I live out at, let's say, Greenhouse Road and I-10. And my vision there or thought is, being that there are trees and I'm in a big home, bigger home than I need, I think if you want to have a country home, have it in that area.
Right.
And then you're close enough. You don't have to take a 2-3 hour drive with I-10 to your Belleville or whatever. You don't need all that stuff. You can have a nice country home with trails out in the Katy area, if you want to call it that, and then have your little place inside the loop if you want to do that too. That's just my theory.
I think you're 100% spot on. Folks that are coming into the loop, obviously that option in Katy is great. Folks that are within Katy, because, I mean, the population of Katy now is the same size as Pittsburgh, and we have some amazing companies out there. We have Amazon. We have Sur La Table is now building out there. We've got the University of Houston coming out. So we're actually seeing, and of course, all of our great hospitals in that area. Medical is huge. But we're also seeing a lot of folks that are now basing in Katy, and we're getting a lot of demand to go out a little bit further. So we're getting now a lot of showings moving more towards the Belleville, Brenham, Sealy, Columbus area where they're wanting to get land.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let's take your last 2 weeks, Christy, as far as your travels. You keep track of all your travels
Absolutely.
and you have an idea where you're going and all that. What was the closest to the city of Houston that you were this week? Or last 2 weeks?
Energy Corridor.
So what, Eldridge?
Yes.
Look at that. And then what was the furthest if you were to go out on I-10?
Belleville.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were out in Belleville this week.
How about I-10? When are they going to expand that? Are they going to do that again? When are they going to build that second level on it?
Oh, my
No?
goodness. That's a
Am I
great
dreaming?
question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I think you're going to have to ask the engineering folks about that one.
Yeah, I'd love to know that one.
The thing that people are really looking for in Katy right now is actually the expansion of Grand Parkway, because we're really feeling the congestion on that now that they've opened up to Sugarland and now all the way up around the Woodlands.
We can do a whole show on how 99 has affected the west side of town, and just the west side, that is, and the
Absolutely.
Woodlands and everywhere else.
Yes. It's driven up actually home values, which is fantastic now that
It's
we
a fun
have.
road to ride on
It is.
when it's
Yeah.
moving.
Which is great. But
And I'll expand that. All roads are fun to ride on when they're moving.
Yes.
Because we're seeing so much of the opposite.
Correct.
Really, Houston, any part of the city at many
yeah.
times of the day is a gridlock or a very slow moving situation. Live close to where your stuff that you do is, right?
Absolutely.
That's profound, isn't it? Jackie, let's give people an idea of, from your opinion, we're not quite at the halfway point of the year, but we have 2019, we're in it, no doubt. What is your outlook for, let's say, as the year will unfold in residential real estate out in the West where we're at?
Oh, I think it's just going to keep growing by far. We're having so many more people move in to the West Houston. We've got so much to offer. Sales are up. We've been crazy busy the last month. I can only imagine that it's going to get hotter and even more so.
That's very exciting. How often do you find people that are coming from, say, out of the state of Texas? Here's another kind of question, and that is how many people are moving the reverse of what I was describing? Let's say they're living inside the loop or living at the loop or whatever, but they want to come out and have a little bit more room for their dogs or whatever else. Does that happen?
Absolutely. All those scenarios happen. We've had clients move there from California, Dallas a lot. We've had several from Dallas. And then as far as moving inside out, we've had that. And actually, I just had a client move from the outside to the Heights. So I've had every scenario you can imagine because everybody has different goals and jobs change and life changes. So
And then what did
it's
you say
always
earlier?
flowing.
What kind of change of mode life, or what was that?
That's right. Change of life.
Yeah.
Change of life. It happens all the time. So many things trigger a real estate transaction.
Yes.
Well, and that's so true. And that's really our focus in our business is our focus is on the individual needs of each client. And how do we help you develop your wealth portfolio? Because real estate is part of your wealth portfolio, no matter what season of life that you're in. So if it's our investors, and we've now had one that has accumulated 32 residential properties, we'll sit down with that investor and say, hey, it's time to play Monopoly. Let's jump into commercial. And here's the risks and rewards of that. When we sell a home, we sit down with our buyers and say, okay, what are your investment opportunities? How are you building your wealth portfolio, and how can we help you do that? How are you planning for college? How can we connect you with people that can help you meet your financial goals so that you can acquire great wealth? Because that's really the American dream, right?
You are so on target that life is so much like a Monopoly game. It is ridiculous. And there are people listening right now that probably don't know what Monopoly is.
This is true.
But it's a heck of a game. It's still around. And if you master Monopoly and you take some of those principles and apply them to every aspect of your life, I'm just going to say it can be very helpful.
Absolutely, 100%.
And before we close this segment, what else would you like people to know? First, Christy.
I think it's really important no matter what stage of life you're in, if you're looking to downsize, upsize, if you have a home to sell, it's really important that you have somebody that will walk into your home and not just look at it as a unit or a transaction, but they will actually look at your home and say, what is the story of this home? Why would someone want to buy it? Because that's what keeps your house from going stale on the market. It's not a unit, it's a story. And so you want to have somebody come in and really market the story of that home with the professionals and those particular pieces, because that's how you're going to net the right buyer. We do that with our listings, and we actually sell the majority of our homes at our open houses, because we make sure that that's an experience and that the story of that home is told so that it attracts the right people. And then we can help you phase on into getting a really great deal, whether it's new construction or other things that you're doing within life.
And so we should
That's
say
key.
you and Jackie work as a team. So
We
we
do,
didn't mention that, but that's very important.
Yes.
And at these open houses, do you ever have cookies?
We have more than cookies.
Yes.
Okay, so then people are going to want to call right away. So, and Jackie, how about you? What else would you tell people?
Now's the time to buy. Like, don't wait.
Take advantage of those low rates,
Don't be on
no
the
doubt.
fence. Go ahead and invest in yourself and in your future.
And let's tell people how they can reach out to you.
You can reach us everywhere. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can give us a call. We'd love to have a conversation at 832-795-1915. We'd love to take you to a cup of coffee. And you can also find us on our website at ChristyBolandSellsHomes.com.
And say that number again a little slower.
832-795-1915.
Christy Boland, Jackie Lopez. Thank you so much. We're going to take another short break and come right back.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And welcome back. Here we are, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Nampick. Stewart Title, we have tremendous, I say this all the time, stay close to your business development officer wherever you are in Houston or even beyond if you're listening. Why? Because we always have great things going on near our Stewart Title offices, and the key to those great things happening is to know who your business development officer is. And to do that, just Google Stewart Title, look in the area that you are, you'll see that person's name come up. In fact, we have, and of course, you heard Christy and Jackie here from West Houston. That was thanks to our business development officer. Her name is Rochelle Sula, and she is doing an incredible job since January, setting things on fire right there in our Katy office. Rochelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Glad to be here.
It's pretty much fun out there in Katy doing business all the time with such great real estate professionals.
It's fantastic. I love it. There's so many people and always having a good time.
And one of the things, Stewart Title in Katy is right off of 99, right? So it's easy to get on and off. You're in the center of West Houston, really.
Yes, very easy access, Westheimer and 99.
So easy. Well, Rochelle, let's tell people, in case they want to bring a real estate transaction to you of any size, what should they do? What number should they call?
They need to reach me at 281-222-7601.
It's 281. I like that when we put that many twos together. 222-7601 right there in the center of West Houston, Stewart Title. And also, you have many things going on, too. So if someone wants to attend one of your events, they can do the same thing. Just look at Katie, Stewart Title, right?
Absolutely.
281-222-7601. Rochelle Sula. Well, Rochelle, thanks for bringing such great guests today.
I'll keep them coming.
Please do. And now, changing gears from West Houston back up to the Kingwood area. She is back, Jackie Naro. Jackie, welcome back.
Hi, thank you, Bill.
And here we are, closing out the show. So much fun, such great information. Let's tell people, what else would you like them to know here before we close things out?
First of all, it has been great visiting with you and
You didn't know
all
it was
of
going to
your
be this
audience.
much fun, did you? Huh?
I'd just like to remind your audience, for your commercial and real estate and residential real estate needs, call me and let me get your property sold. 713-301-2347.
And as you said earlier, the outlook looks super strong, and I'm glad that you brought up Pearland. Seriously, we need to get Pearland back on the show because it has been a while.
It's buzzing. Yes, it sure is.
Indeed. So now give Jackie a call, 713-301-2347. And guess what? They are back. Christy and another Jackie from West Houston. Ladies, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having us, Bill. We really appreciate you.
Well, final thoughts. I mean, that sounds serious. That sounds almost like the changing of life seasons. I think my life has changed the season just from the beginning of the show to the end. Can you imagine that?
We aim to please, Bill.
But that happens every show. So, yeah. Final thoughts by Christy and Jackie. Well, ladies, let's tell people, what else would you like them to know before we close things out here?
Well, we would really like you to know that when you're considering who you're going to hire as a real estate professional, it's really important not to just look at who that professional is. Are they doing real estate full time? Is it their side gig? How much attention are they going to give to you and your life needs? But also, who are their business partners and who are they aligned with? We are so grateful to be aligned with Stewart Title and Rochelle's office and Katie. It's just a fantastic arena. And here's why. Our job is to help you build your wealth portfolio and to help you make your dreams come true. So that one client that we talked to you about, that we said, hey, it's time to now move on from owning your own home to look at investment properties. She's done that, and we've partnered with her for over a year. And she recently came to us with a lot that she wanted to build on, and she wanted to know if she could divide the lot. And it was a piece where she was actually maybe not going to purchase the property because she wasn't getting clear answers. I gave Rochelle's office a call, and Stacy in her office was fantastic. She got with your title examiners. They pulled all of the HOA requirements, got me all the documentation I needed in less than 24 hours. And it made it a really clear decision that this client could use that property for what they wanted to use it for. And we went under contract very, very quickly. So your business partners are really important in who you work with. And we just really love Stewart.
Well, you are so kind to say that. Thank you. And we appreciate everything you do for us. And Jackie, I want to tell people, and if it's okay, that is one of the things that's unique about you. I think you're a master at organization in your team in real estate and at home, because let's tell people, you have how many?
I have 6 kiddos.
6 children. So right there, that means that you must be good at arranging tasks, knowing what, prioritizing things. Let's tell people a little bit of what you learned about on the home front with your children, your 6 children, and how you brought that to the real estate profession.
I think the main thing is knowing how to set expectations, knowing when and what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And that's one thing that we do with our client, is really set the expectations up front, whether it be with a buyer as far as the timeline, how it works, what needs to be done next. We communicate, and I think that needs to be done in your business as is in your home. So, and plus have a good calendar system.
I'm speechless, but I'm not. It's amazing. Well, that is a great word. So let's tell people how they can reach out to your team.
You can give me a call at 281-824-2176. Again, it's 281-824-2176.
And thank you so much, guys. And now, as always, we are brought to you by Stewart Insurance. And I don't get to say it enough, but the company is led by Tom Carpentier. He is the president of Stewart Insurance, has great team people like Brittany Taggart, John Bramlett, Michelle Steffen, so many more. And he does his job in an incredible way, a magnificent way, 24/7, even when he sleeps. Right, Brittany?
That's right.
He's all right. Tom is, and one of the things about Stewart Insurance, and as you're led by Tom, one of the things he does, he is so innovative and always bringing forth motivation for the associates at your company to take things to that next level in terms of customer satisfaction and improving the customer experience all the time.
I 100% agree. Our goal, if whether we're working with businesses to insure their business or with home buyers, is to make sure that they're confident in their insurance. Make sure we're building a proper insurance plan so when life happens, they're confident in what they have. And you can only get there by having a conversation with any professional. As we move more towards the online era, it's going to be more important to keep the conversation up front and make sure you're speaking with somebody and you have that person to guide you through that process, whatever it may be. Insurance is absolutely part of that entire closing transaction, and it's part of your daily life. And so we want to make sure that we're having a conversation, you understand your risks, and understand how your insurance plan addresses the exposures that come about because of your risks. So absolutely give us a call at 866-798-2827.
One more time.
866-798-2827. We'd love to have a conversation.
And let's tell people again, Brittany, the name of the class, the CE class that you are offering people.
Yeah, so we have 3. The one that we spoke about today over disclosing and documenting was the real estate liability, protect your license, and reduce your risks.
And I want to tag on to what Christy said as she talked about real estate being such an important part of our financial portfolio, our wealth. Having the right insurance protects that wealth, kind of like protecting the real estate professional's license. But insurance plays such a role into our net worth and our financial well-being.
I absolutely agree with that. That is very true. Very true.
Tom Carpentier told me that once, and I believe it. No doubt about it. One more time. If they want that class, the number is
866-798-2827. Ask for John or Brittany.
John or Brittany. You've been listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Nampick. And as I always say, don't be sad that the show's ending at the time of broadcast. Why? Because it never really ends. You can always go to Stewart.com/Houston. No question about it. Stewart.com/Houston. I also say, I've said it here today, that is stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer. Just go to Stewart.com. Look at where you're located. You might be in Kingwood. Justin Ramirez, a tremendous guy right there who brought Jackie Nauer here on the show today. So you might be in Kingwood. You might be in the Woodlands, Katy, Texas. Inside the Loop. You might be going inside out. It doesn't matter. We are everywhere. We're an international company traded on the New York Stock Exchange. In business, yes, over 125 years. That means if there is ever a problem, we will be around to help you 20, 30 years from now. Stewart Title, thank you for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Just go to Stewart.com/Houston. That's right, Stewart.com/Houston. Is he going to say it one more time? I think so. Stewart.com/Houston. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.